What's going on, paintball peeps? My name is Carl Markowski, and you're listening to the Playing On Podcast. Thank you for joining me. Just a friendly reminder that I will be hosting a clinic down at Redhead's Paintball in Pataskala, Ohio on August 13th. That is a Sunday. So if you guys have not signed up yet, if you're in the central, southern Ohio, northern Ohio, if you're from anywhere over there, make sure to sign up. Come get some paintball knowledge and see how my mind works as far as playing the game goes. August 13th, that is a Sunday. That's right around the corner. That's next weekend. So make sure you get out there. This episode is brought to you by, actually, before I get into the sponsors, I have to apologize because for some reason my allergies are just kicking my ass right now. So I am just getting, my face just feels bloated and my nose, so I'm sorry if I'm sniffling. I don't even realize I'm doing it, but I'm sorry ahead of time. See, I just did one. Sorry. This episode is brought to you by Dr. Paintball, where if you head to drpaintball.com, you can check out all of the gear on the website. He also has some paintball content under the About Me section. But there's free 3-day shipping on purchases over $35. There's a used gear section. They are trying to help out the paintball community as much as possible, especially with the whole financing feature, because paintball equipment is expensive. So they offer some financing, which is awesome. So make sure you head over to drpaintball.com and get you some gear. So thank you, Dr. Paintball. We are also brought to you by Charm City Paintball, and he's a whole headband and head wrap conglomerate over there. I'm actually collaborating with him on a new pack band, and it's going to be a smaller strip of fabric, dual-sided. It's not going to have a mesh on the back because it's actually just going to be proprietary to your pack. I mean, if you want to wear it as a headband, you can, but it's going to be thinner. It's going to be a little bit smaller, but it's going to be awesome. But head over to his Facebook page at Charm City Paintball, and you can check out all of his new fabrics. He has black Gucci. He has normal Gucci fabrics. He has Realtree. He uses all kinds of name brands, but all of the headbands are in runs of 10 or less. So really, every headband is pretty much custom. So check him out, Charm City Paintball. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast. We are also brought to you by Charm City, and I just said Charm City. It's early. We are also brought to you by Carbon Paintball, and they are the producers of the base layer, top and bottom, which I wear. It's an integrated compression fit top and bottom with arm pads and knee pads. It's two separate things, but if you head over to carbonpaintball.com, it's great gear, high quality. Also coming out with a CC line. It's not the top of the line. It's just a step below that, so it's a little bit more affordable for people. But it's still same great look, same great function. But check it out over at carbonpaintball.com. And we are lastly sponsored by Planet Eclipse, each and every episode by the Planet Eclipse. That is a company that has been paving the way for some of these marker companies, and the style and the way that these things are built are ridiculous. They just came out with a new CS 1.5 and the LV 1.5. I have not shot the LV 1.5 yet, but if it's anything like all the other ones, it's awesome. So and if you haven't seen it yet, I shoot an LVR custom by Aesthetic Anodizing. Make sure you check out my Instagram and all that good stuff. But that thing, I've never had a problem with it, and I like it so much I tech it myself. So thank you to Planet Eclipse for sponsoring this and every podcast. All right, ads are done. No more ads for this one. Nikki Cuba. I know he has not been around for a few years. He's got a grown-up job now. He's working on an oil rig, which is crazy. I've only seen in documentaries and now a movie about that whole lifestyle, and it's crazy. I think he said 21 days on the rig and then 21 days off, and it's nuts in the middle on this big metal platform in the middle of the ocean. But I don't know, must pay pretty good because that's nuts. But Nicky has he's been an influence on my paintball career for sure. He's one of the guys that kind of molded me into the player that I am today, and he has been a staple in the game, and it was sad to see him walk away. I know he had a knee injury, but he didn't really want to go out like that. But he kind of put at least into my head on that confidence in playing, and playing with lots of emotion and with heart, and I respected him a lot for that. But I really enjoyed this one, and I hope you guys too enjoy. All right, man. Well, shit, it's been a long time. How you been?
Been good, man. Just chilling, living the family life. Working an oil rig, and kind of fell off in the paintball world, but been trying to stay in tune and see what's hot right now, and teams and players and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, you trying to make a comeback?
Hey, I'd love to. I mean, I gotta have a team that would want this, old veteran.
Well, dude, you're a legend in the game, and it's like, to the kids who are just starting out and don't know who you are. Nikki used to be this unstoppable phenom of intensity on the field, as well as mind games and all kinds. But we'll get into all that stuff. But I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. I haven't talked to you in a long time. You were one of my big brothers on Excessive, and we'll get to that as well. But let's how I usually do these is I like to start kind of in the beginning, and like where you found paintball, but also probably like where you grew up and what it was like where you were at growing up, and if you were in any kind of sports or anything. So where do you come from?
Hey, this is your show.
I do what I want.
Do what I want. I'm a bad boy. Growing up out of the streets of Long Island, West Islip, and playing with a local team, that was out of Cousins Paintball, and it was, some of the stuff that I've told you about in the past. These newcomers don't really know about, but I grew up, literally like 10 feet away from a paintball store, and from there was hanging out, wanting to be a paintball player, and working in the paintball store to kind of pay for my craft.
Right. Now, how did that come about? Like, were in high school and growing up, were you pretty active, like in sports and being competitive? And how did you figure out what paintball was and where the store was?
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, it was 10 feet from my house, and my brother played.
Older brother?
Older brothers. I grew up with two older brothers. They were soccer players, lacrosse, and it was like kind of like a family thing to get into soccer. Mm-hmm. And when I turned it into just doing paintball, it was more like, what are you doing? And especially around neighborhood, it was like, paintball? Are you serious? Like, just how it is now. It's still the same, talking to people, on the rig, and in my travels, it's, what do you mean you played professional paintball?
Yeah, it's still unknown.
Still unknown, but still a sport in itself that, you get athletes, you get tons of revenue in the business. Now you have Nike, Under Armour, battling out with the pro teams. So it's taken that next step into where I always dreamed it would come to.
Yeah.
But I was always wanting to be the best in Long Island. So I always challenge everyone, and we wound up playing in woods around Long Island and stuff like that. Then we wound up going to the paintball fields, wound up building a 5-man team. Just like everyone does. You build a 5-man team, 10-man team. Now you have anywhere from 12 to 14 people on your roster, because of the style of play. But
was that including your brother on the team, or was this other people?
In the beginning? Yeah, it was my older brother, and that was who captivated me to the sport, where it was like, hey, I want to be like my older brother. And I want to do what he's doing. It's a badass sport. That's all I kept on thinking of. And as you hear my boy Hudson running through with my wife, it was just something that it was addicting. I mean, as soon as you got a taste of it, I mean, that adrenaline rush. I played sports, like I said, soccer, lacrosse, football, wrestling. It didn't matter what it was. It as long as it was competitive, that was for me.
What was your favorite before paintball came around?
Favorite before paintball? I mean, I was really good at soccer. If I would have stayed with that, I think, it would have been a little bit different. I played with a New York team that won states. Really? 2 guys actually went to the MLS. But, my area was almost frowned upon, like, you're playing soccer? Come on, bro. Like, you're not playing football?
Yeah.
You're not playing lacrosse? Like, that's a badass sport. Soccer is more of a, woman's sport.
Non-contact.
You look at it now and you're like, I wish I would not have listened to anyone, because you look at Europe, you look at all across the world, what's the main sport? Soccer.
Yeah.
So, I think that was my best sport.
Yeah. Yeah, and I played soccer when I was younger, and I think soccer's one of those sports. It's a good, like, is that your little boy?
Yeah, that's Hudson. Bring him over here, Chris.
Yeah, let me see him.
She's gonna hate it. Hey, Chris.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Say hi. That's Carl. That's Uncle Carl.
He looks just like you.
Say hi. Show him your teeth.
I see your teeth? You got a little
You
gap like
hiding?
my little boy does.
Say peace out. Say peace out, Cub Scout.
Peace out. Dude, they grow up so fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It was like yesterday he was born, and my daughter was just 3. Now they've reversed roles. He's 3 and she's 6, and the stuff that comes out of their mouth is hilarious. Hilarious. They retain a lot.
Yeah. My little boy's, he's saying a couple words, but he can comprehend a good amount. But he's refusing to say anything more than "duh" and hi. That's about it.
He's got your eyes, man.
Dude,
he's a good-looking boy.
He's a riot, man. He's a riot.
Yeah, it's definitely a different aspect. Growing up, being a paintball player, and you're just a paintball player, and then when you bring a kid into the world and a family, it changes you. So,
oh yeah,
I mean that's
for
one
sure.
of the reasons that I had to bow out a little early.
Yeah, I can. Well, and I forget who I was talking about it with, but You know, as much as a team sport paintball is a very selfish sport. When you have to dedicate a lot of time and effort and sweat and blood and tears into this sport, and it doesn't leave very much room for anybody else besides your team. I mean, that's who you're dedicating yourself to.
Oh well, it's basically like another wife. You know, you have to commit. You know, you're committing weekends, and
If you don't, they get mad.
if you don't, they get mad. They want to, you know, not give you any nookie.
Yep.
You know, and
No playtime.
no playtime. That's a nookie.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is, and you know, as a person, as a athlete and player, you got to come to you know, come to yourself and realize, you know, where you're at.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you're not able to make it in the world of paintball like some people are, you know, like you look at tons of people that own fields and own companies and things like that, you know, they're blessed, man. You know, I wish that I had been able to, you know, conquer my goal of, you know, moving new school and up to the next level and opening a paintball field and stuff like that. You know, I'm still looking to do that in Tennessee.
Yeah, that'd be all. And I mean, it's kind of a sad thing to think about. And I mean, you've been in that position where it's like you reach your initial goal of playing professional paintball. That's what you wanted to do ever since you started playing paintball at a competitive level. You wanted to play pro. You wanted to play for the best team, or you know, fuck that. You wanted to play for a team and just compete at pro. You just wanted to be the best. But that's not, you know, financially and a lifestyle. That's still not capable right now. I mean, a handful of guys can make that happen, but you have to be one of the top 5-10 guys to be able to do that, I feel. So you have to
yes
go
and no. But also with that, you know, you have to have the correct backing. You know, you have to have the people behind you supporting you with money, with your marital status, so to speak. You know, like that they're gung ho about it. They see, you know, what you see.
Yeah.
And you know, some people that have come into it don't know, you know, what you've been through, where it's gone from, you know, from nothing to something. And you know, you got to show them that. I mean, and it's just meeting the right people at the right times, you know, or just growing up in the right family.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really, I feel like the only way that you can make a living in the sport, even not reaching pro, is starting a field or a company or doing something like that, because strictly playing on a professional team as a professional player does not cut it. You
don't have 401k, you don't have health care, you don't have you know, it's kind of like football, you know, like MLB, you're guaranteed money. Football, NFL, if you get hurt, it's like, say la vie, peace out, you know, Cub Scout, it was nice knowing you, you know, you're not getting your money.
Yeah, it's,
you know, and you know, that's just how it was with paintball. And we've tried through the years to take it to that next level of being so structured where it was like MLB or, you know, any of the other top tier sports where you would have that backing. And, you know, it's a hard road to conquer, but I mean, you look at it now, you know, from when I started, man, I dreamed of when Nike and Under Armour and Adidas and all these companies would come in. And the year I left, I was like, are you kidding me? You know, they're coming in now.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, but, you know, I've been staying in touch with it and, you know, staying in touch with we're playing and actually just started get back in a little bit of coaching.
Really?
I went down to Alabama, started coaching a team out of Brothers of Arms, and you know, met a badass dude named Mr. Lennon, and you know, he's about growing paintball in Alabama, where it is a hard area, you know, just as Tennessee to grow the sport. Not many fields, not many teams, players, but you know, he's putting forth the effort, and so I went down there, did a clinic, and he actually just called me in the past few days and asked me to come down and take over coaching a D3 team,
That's
which
awesome.
you know, I talked to him about, and moving forward with that, and you know, it's but I mean, at the same time, it's getting my my wheels turning. You know, like I think I could still get down.
Yeah, it's like riding a bike, man. You know, you're a little wobbly coming back at it, but you never forget how to do it. And you bring it back up straight and go back, you know, to where you were. So,
Yeah.
let's go back to when you started forming a team with your brother, and then where kind of did it go with that? Did you guys start playing tournaments right away, or was it still in the woods? And then kind of where did it go from there after you guys started forming teams?
Yeah, it was still in the woods. I mean, we had formed a team. We started playing at an indoor field that Cousins Paintball had started up. It was all on sand and in a very unlightened area. You know, it was in a warehouse where they had, you know, minimal lights and stuff like that. But you know, I'd work and then I'd play, and we wound up forming a team, and from there we wound up, you know, winning that tournament, and you know, pushing ourselves onto the tournament scene in Long Island. And my brother wound up, you know, he was 7 years older than I was, so you know, girls and life, you know, took him apart from us.
Right.
But he kept on playing a little bit, but for the most part, it was me and a couple of friends, you know, around the neighborhood, where we just kept on competing. Got seen by, you know, local teams that were a little bit better than us, and wound up going on to a team called Timberwolves. We started Complete Chaos with me, my brother, my buddy Ryan, and my buddy Yosh, and we wound up, you know, forming that team, and then we kind of split ties. A couple of us, there was three of us that went on, my brother and my buddy Ryan Peterman, and we went up to Timberwolves, and then from there, you know, Complete Chaos was like end all be all in New York paintball. That was 10 men.
Oh, really?
They wound up, you know, letting us play. Well, not letting us play, but they had us come on the team. We played an event with them, and that was at the Pittsburgh MAO, and that was in, I want to say, like 98, 97. And from there, that year, the team had kind of collapsed / formed with Ground Zero. And Ground Zero was the culmination of, you had Chain Gang, and you had the East Coast Eliminators, and then you had some guys from Northern New York. And
These are all
that's how
10-man
we formed
teams?
Ground Zero. Yeah. And it's all 10-man teams, and we wound up forming that. You know, that was before, you know, I guess I want to say 2001, 2002 was the year that it kind of went downhill from 10-man. Not downhill, but it just left from 10-man to 7-man and 5-man.
Yeah, the format started changing around.
So we wound up, you know, coming together as Ground Zero before actually, you Ground Zero happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the year after Ground Zero happened, and all that stuff in New York, we changed the team to New York Extreme. That's when I left. I went to Chicago Aftershock, and that's when the NXL had actually started. So that was around 2001, 2002.
So when you were on Ground Zero, though, is that when you guys got your first was that your first professional win? Was with Ground Zero?
Yeah, I was 16 years old. It was our first event in Skydome. Mm-hmm. It was the first time that we had a actual event in a stadium, and it was a 5-man format airball for the first time. Are you there, Carl? Because you're freezing up.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for the first time, they had airball. It was more or less inner tubes mm-hmm. that had basically like a little liner around them so that they would go 3 high. And that was kind of the start of airball. And that was my first taste of it. My mom let me go with some random strangers to this event.
Yeah, that's how it always is with paintball. It's always random strangers that your parents don't really know and your friends at home don't really know. But mm-hmm. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, because she knew him from the paintball store. It was a Army Navy surplus. Mm-hmm. It was guys that she had seen every day, because if she couldn't find me, that's where I was. I was over there. I was fixing equipment or just being a pest.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out, running around in the back. They would get 10 shots for $1, out of a Splatmaster or PGP.
Nice.
CO2 style. And I don't know if some of those guys that are listening right now know about that, but that's what I grew up playing was CO2 and little 12-gram cartridges. So
what was your first big marker after that?
Went on to from a Splatmaster PGP. I went backwards, man. I went from a mini mag to a Tippmann, back to Automag, back to a mini mag, back to STO, and just kept on, going up from there. It was a cool experience to see the evolution of the guns.
Was the first time you shot an Intimidator, was that when you were on GZ? Or did you even shoot an Intimidator when you were on GZ?
Yeah, we were actually the first team that got sponsored by them, besides Bob Long. GZ was the team that he put forth the effort, on sponsoring besides his own team.
Yeah.
And that was, night and day difference, from Intimidator / when we had an Angel.
Yeah.
I played with Alex Lundquist and Max, who had Eggy, who was a dude from Finland who invented the eye. So the optical eye that lets you shoot so many paintballs.
That break
today,
beam eye. Yeah.
Yep. Was from that dude. And, we got to be a part of that evolution.
That's crazy. Now, how did the Lundquist brothers, get onto GZ?
That was from Alex. Alex was working in New York. Met up with Will Arroyo, one of the guys I looked up to, and he wound up, befriending Will. They wound up meeting at a bar or club, mm-hmm. and he said, "Hey, why don't you come, play some paintball?" And Alex was ex, Swedish service. Mm-hmm. He was in the army over there, and wound up, loving the sport. His brother wound up loving the sport, and that was the end all be all. I mean, we played every single weekend, nonstop. Whether it was a holiday or what have you, a birthday, didn't matter what it was. We were playing.
Yeah, that's cool. Will was one of those guys too that I always thought was, when I first started playing, I heard about. I actually had a Ground Zero Intimidator, and I heard about Will. I heard about you and the Lone Quest brothers, and Will especially. He's so like mysterious. I don't know that much about him, but he was so like out there in your face, and I don't know that much about him. Where did he come? Is he from New York?
Yeah, born and raised in Brooklyn, and just a real ass motherfucker.
Yeah,
I mean, dude was the guy that showed me how to bring your game to the next level, be in your face, nonstop. Shit talking. 101 was him.
Yeah.
Mind games. That you didn't think of. As a player. When you're actually out there. That actually takes another game to do.
Yeah.
Within the game.
Yeah.
You're playing your game of paintball, but if you get them out of their game, that is another aspect that is undoubtedly like one of the biggest attributes that you get.
What's crazy is that because anybody listening and knows Nicky and knows how he used to play. I mean, it used to be, first thing was mental. You would used to fuck with people, and I loved it. I thought it was great because you were one of the better ones at it. And nowadays, honestly, there is none. There is like no shit talking. No, everybody walks by each other, goes to the start box. Everybody's like looking down. And just recently, I've kind of like, man, this is kind of shitty. Like, we need to kind of pick it up. And I started I'm starting to like stare guys down and like talk a little like, hey man, where you going? As we're like passing each other by, like, I know where you're going, man. I see you. I know what's going on here. And I'm trying to work on my Nikki Cuba talk shit game, but it's weird because it's not a part of the game anymore, and it's so confusing because I remember 7-man, it was huge because you used to be around the players all the time, and you used to be able to like for a couple minutes stare down and be able to talk to each other and talk to the other team and shit with them and everything, but it's like it doesn't happen anymore. It really
I mean. I think that's just a bridge of like players coming together and becoming friendly, and if you do that, then you're breaking your friendship up. That bond that you have with that person. I mean, I live with Dynasty. So it was nonstop shit talking on the field, and then when we came home, it was just a brotherhood. It was different. But when you're on the field, you're with your team, you're behind your team. If I was wearing GZ colors, excessive colors, Ironman colors, Infamous, it didn't matter what I was wearing. That was my team. And that's who I backed. But when we came home, we did a little shit talking, but I could go grab, a bite with Alex or Yosh or any of those guys, Skinny Kevin, and just chill out. But when we're out there, they know, I'm out there to win. They're out there to win, and I'm all about my team.
Yeah,
and that's what it's got to be about.
Yeah, it does, and I just don't think there's enough shit talking. It needs to come back. Maybe you can bring it back. Maybe you can help me bring it back.
I'll try. We'll maybe we'll have some Monday and Wednesday and Friday conversations.
There you go. Yeah, we need to. We need to. Let's go back to when you joined Aftershock. What was the reason for the jump over to Aftershock, especially like winning your first pro match with the GZ, and like what happened?
Well, won the first pro match. Wound up going pro a year after that because I was still amateur, playing with the amateur team. The pro team actually won, so I was a part of it, but it wasn't me.
Sure.
You know, but you know, through practices and trials and everything of that nature, you know, I showed them that, you know, I could be on that level. So they had brought me up, which, you know, in my eyes, you know, now looking back, you know, could be, you know, a great thing, could be a bad thing. You know, you might have made a bad decision or a good decision, but you can't live on the past. But it was a good experience. You know, I wound up being able to see the world, going from there and fighting through, you know, being kind of mediocre. You know, we won one event, you know, with GZ in LA in 2001.
Yeah.
Wound up winning a couple in Europe and bringing home a world title. It just didn't feel like I was able to put forth, you know, my voice.
Right.
And I wound up, you know, heading out and parting ways. And a bunch of guys were, you know, pissed off, but they understood. And wound up, you know, going and talking to several teams. I went and tried out for the Ironman of LA, Bob's Long Ironman. Also tried out for, you know, Aftershock, and right then they were trying to start Miami Effect and things of that nature, and I just found a good place with Aftershock. It was guys that I grew up, you know, kind of idolizing, with Rusty Malcheski and Spud and Billy Sharansky, and wound up feeling just comfortable there. Todd Martinez had been there for a year. He had told me about, you know, how he liked it, and me and Todd had become, you know, really good friends, and, you know, as of today, you know, best of friends.
Yeah.
And it was the right decision at the time. You know, stayed with him for a year, played some good paintball, and you know, at the end of the year, sponsorship, you know, stuff came into speculation, and, you know, once again had to look to, you know, take care of myself. You know, I was looking at paintball as being, you know, my NFL or my MLB,
Right.
you know, and take care of myself. So I wanted to part ways with Rennick and the Aftershock boys, but I mean, they showed me the way. They took care of me. It was just time.
Good experience.
But it was a great experience. I mean, they showed me, you know, if Will didn't show me a way to shit talk, they showed me a way to be angry and shit talk.
Yeah, they're definitely good at that. How old were you at this time?
At that time, I was about 20. So
Still a young pup.
Yeah, still a young pup. I was in and out of Chicago, you know, living there with Ryan Williams, one of the best players ever that I think that could play the snake. And you know, had him grooming me, Billy Sharansky, and you know, like I said, I was a young pup, you know, and learning the game still. You know, I was not where I needed to be still. You know, you're still learning as an athlete, as a player, and as a person.
Still trying to find yourself and your spot in the world. Even
Yeah,
paintball
man.
world.
I mean, you know, you're thinking, you know, I love when I teach clinics still today. You know, one of the things I try and break down is that you're not just a front player. You know, if you think you're just a snake player, you know, you're crazy, because at one point or another we can need you to go Doritos and you could be way better at it, you
Yeah.
know, or if you're a mid player, you got to become a front player. Same thing as a back player, you got to become the front player. You know, you got to be able to, you know, handle every single aspect of our sport, you know, as things come about, as the game breaks down.
Yeah, you have to be. Yeah, and even back then, you know, even with 7-man and 10-man, you had to be versatile. If you weren't
Mm-hmm.
versatile, then you know, then you didn't really have much to bring to the table if you couldn't play
Mm-hmm.
multiple spots, and you didn't have the paintball patience of timing and you know and knowing when to go and all that good stuff. But
I'm getting some water. Hold
yeah,
on.
no worries.
I'm with you.
Uh, so where did you end up going after Aftershock?
After Aftershock, that
Yeah.
was my time going on to Excessive.
Oh, really?
That was when Ironman was breaking up. I had once again went to Bob Long, went to a couple other teams, and you know, tried to once again find my home.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, you know, then actually just broke out a book where I have a binder where, you know, I kind of stopped it, you know, at that time, when I chose. I went up moving out to California, living with Maddie on the couch. Went up moving downstairs from him, and you know, going out, trying out for all the Cali teams, and it was, you know, a experience in itself to kind of figure out where, you know, I fit in, and
So you living on Manny's
you know,
couch before Excessive?
it was like right as Excessive was forming. Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
I was. I told him. I said, "Hey, I'm going to go play with Dynasty," and he said, "All right, you know, cool." And we lived a block away from the beach. Went down to the beach, kind of chilled out, kind of meditated and sat on it for, you know, for a night.
Mm-hmm.
And next day, I was like, you know what? That's like going to the Yankees. You know, they've already won everything.
Yeah.
They've done everything. You know, if I go there, I'm kind of just like jumping on the bandwagon, and
You're not building
in
something that
that
hasn't been
aspect.
there.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to do. You know, I've always went up against, you know, Oliver and Alex and Ryan and Yosh, and you know, I love them. You know, those are some of my best friends of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm so glad that I met them. So glad that you know, I got to live with them, got to play against them, got to befriend them, and call them my family.
Yeah.
But you know, at the same time, you know, I wanted to set my own mark. You know, put my own little etch in the stone.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, the next day I was like, you know what, Maddie, we're gonna form this team. We're gonna fuck them up.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's crazy how little things change and how things worked out. You know, just imagine if you would have just went with Dynasty, or you know, if
Oh yeah, I mean, life would have changed.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I could still be in California instead of Tennessee. I wouldn't have these two beautiful children, beautiful wife. You know, everything would have been different. But everything happens for a reason. You know, and you live life till its fullest. You know, my buddy Alex Lundquist always told me that. You know, you live life till its fullest, and take everything as it comes to you.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to conquer it.
What would you say that your excessive years that you were with them, was that your defining moment in paintball? Like your coming to, per se?
Mm, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. When you called me a couple days ago, I wanted to get a head start on it, and you said, I don't want to do that. You said I like doing it, on the fly and stuff like that, and I waited actually till about an hour ago, and I was like, hey, literally haven't played paintball in probably 3 years. Last time I played was World Cup. I had a blown out knee and just played on it. And, it was to me, it was a bad way of going out. It's not the way I ever seen myself going out that way. I always see myself going out on top.
Mm-hmm.
But, other stuff came about, and it was it was just my story. So I guess looking back, it's like the excessive built me into the player that I needed to be, and got me to where I was with all those trials and tribulations and downfalls and ups and downs of thinking that we were supposed to be something that we weren't, and then overcoming that and becoming that, and then
being a big part of that.
Yeah. I mean, I owe a lot to Matty Marshall. I mean, that dude kept me grounded. Rich Telford pushed me to no end. Davey Williamson. And all you guys, you coming up as a young buck in there, me wanting to show you the right way to come up, and I think that paved the way for me to get to where I was when I chose. Once again, I mean, I came up to that roadblock where it was Dynasty again, or now it was Ironman.
Mm-hmm.
And same scenario where I chose Dynasty, and then I had Oliver, Mr. U, who I've always loved playing with. He's my brother from another mother.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that dude was, for me, the epitome of Long Island and New York paintball. This aggressive, in your face, a good-hearted person. Somebody you want to be around, and they both said, yeah, if you want to go there, go there, and once again, it came to my head of the Yankees, and the Ironman was something, and it'd be cool to bring them back, and with the personnel that they had, it was Oliver, Mr. U, Mike Paxton just signed, Marcelo Margot was just coming up,
Mm-hmm.
Mouse was just coming up, and I seen these guys, day in and day out in San Diego playing, and at events, and just at pickup games that we had at Hollywood Sports over at Bear's Place, or if we're at Velocity. And I was like, these guys got what it takes, and they have the drive.
Yeah.
They're putting forth the effort. They're they're wanting to put forth the effort. And I think that's what captivated me to want to go to the Ironman. And I think for me, the Ironman was what put me, to another level.
Yeah.
I think excessive got me to the level, but, going to the Ironman was, where I had put forth the effort to, I had a personal trainer. I had brought the personal trainer to the team. I was paying for him.
Mm-hmm.
I was on that next level of I just kept on seeing what is today of, what I've always wished for. And I'm so glad that Nike, Under Armour, the big companies are coming in, because that's all I've ever wanted for paintball was to go that next level and be treated as a real sport.
So before we get too deep into the Ironman and that whole thing, what was the move like from excessive to Ironman? What was the reasoning behind it?
That was hard, man. I mean, we had fought for a long 4 years, and
which is a long time to be on a paintball team.
Yeah, I mean the friendship, it's a family. I mean, you say it's bullshit or whatever, but I mean, 4 years of living at Rich and Gina's and Maddie's couch,
mm-hmm.
and driving 8 hours up, 8 hours down, getting stuck in traffic. I mean, you did that drive with us.
Mm-hmm.
It turned into 12 hours in a car with someone, whether it was with Matty U or Spoora, doing Monkey with a Gun. That was one of my hardest choices. And, but, we had backing that didn't come through. We were owed money. And once again, I'm looking at my future.
Mm-hmm.
At that time as a single man, just as a dude trying to make his way, and things didn't come about. We were owed money. Each player that was supposedly an owner, we were owed 30, 40 grand, and we didn't get that money.
Mm-hmm.
We were paying players. We had Dave Baines, Glenn Takamoto, John Richardson. I mean, those guys, once again, they brought me to that next level too. I mean, playing with those guys, their hunger, their want for being number one was always right in front of your face. And I seen, Dave leave. Davey went to Dynasty. I finished out the season because, I just thought that was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. I'd signed on, even though, things happened and we kind of got screwed over. I felt that, I owed it to the guys on the team. And we wound up, doing a good showing. We're getting, top places and stuff like that. But, it was just time.
Wasn't the same.
Well, the team was the same, but, looking, further into it, you're trying to look at, what's going to happen in the future. That they panned out this whole thing of, you're going to be a millionaire.
Right. Yeah.
And, that didn't even pan out to get me paid for the year.
Yeah.
So,
It's such a shame, man, because I mean, you, Maddie, all of you guys were such a huge influence on not only my paintball style and personality, but my real life personality. I mean, you guys were my big brothers growing up on that team that I never had, and you especially. I think the reason why you were such a big influence on me is because you played a lot with emotion. Like I wouldn't put you up there as like the most athletic or flashy
Come on,
or
man.
no, but I'm saying like
Come on, man.
what you were known
Fastest out
for.
there.
But to me, the reason you were at another level to me was because you laid it all on the line, right? It was everything. Every game had 100% heart, and you just left everything on the field, and I admired that so much, and I think you are such a huge
Hey, I got a
reason.
question for you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to cut you off.
No, it's all right.
Can I throw you on the charger and still talk to you?
For sure.
Okay. Just because I seen the low power mode go on.
The red battery of death.
Uh-huh. Hold on, let me get a chair over here.
Yeah, no worries.
I farted, sorry.
That's okay.
My bad.
Water and dip.
Hey, you know how it is. I live in Tennessee now, bro.
But yeah, I just admired the way you played the game and how you let nothing stop you, and I think that was very influential on my part, and I just wanted to thank you for that.
Appreciate that, man. That means a lot. Looking back at it, you always wonder, if you help one person, that means a lot. And, to see what you've become, the man you've become, it's pretty amazing. You were always a crazy, zany, comedian. I mean, you just were hilarious the whole time. And see you become a father now is a amazing thing. And I respect you for that.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. It's an adventure for sure with the little one, but
yeah, it is.
It just like in paintball, man, it takes you to the next level.
How you do it with playing now, man?
It's tough because I'm not practicing as much as I should be, because I choose to spend more time with my family. But I'm still playing the 2 weekends before the events, and then I don't fly in until Thursday night for the events, so I don't even get to walk the fields half the time. More than half.
Man.
What's that?
Because you're working, man.
It's and my job. Well, my goal eventually. I wouldn't.
I mean, you're flying from Vegas after being on the poles all night. I mean, it's kind of hard.
What are you gonna do? You got to make that dollar. Yeah, but yeah, exactly, making it rain. But I'm hoping to eventually. I would love to be in the sport somehow. If it's not playing. I would love to be involved somehow. If it's doing this podcast, if it's bringing it live at events, if it's with a company or something, I just would love to stay involved in the sport somehow because I feel like it's just kind of my second home, and it feels right.
Feel you on that, man. I, definitely been feeling that in the past 3 years of working offshore and, changing everything to going from every weekend, no matter what it was. Like I said, if it was holidays, birthdays, it didn't matter what it was. I was playing paintball. Graduation, I missed graduation for Chicago. It was the Chicago event.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't walk down, graduated. My mom was there, and friends were cheering and stuff, but I got to hear about it, but I wasn't there. I chose, this life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you think about it all though. If you would have made these small other decisions, you wouldn't be where you are now. You wouldn't have the family you have now. You wouldn't be the person you are now. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe everything happens for a reason, and I believe what you put into life and what positivity you bring forth to yourself and others is what kind of radiates off of you and reflects your life in that manner, whatever you want, however you want to say it. But yeah, it's weird, man. It was kind of tough for me, like kind of seeing you walk away from the game, because I know I had took a little bit of a break there. At the end of I think it was 2009 is when I stepped away. What year was it when you stopped?
You're looking at 2014, 15.
Shit, that was right when I came back, pretty much.
Yep. And like I said, I went out. It was a knee injury. Couldn't really play the last event to my fullest capability,
Mm-hmm.
and wound up getting hired on with the company that I work for now, and it was 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. I couldn't make the commitment that I needed to make to stay at that level.
Now, the years with the Ironmen, you were with them during both of their back-to-back World Cup wins.
Who do you think won them? Come on, bro.
There is
Yeah,
that.
no, that was that was an amazing part of my paintball career was that adventure, that breakdown of everyone putting forth the effort, whether it be from the team, whether it be, in the beginning it was Oliver, Mr. U, Paxson, Ryan Williams, Mouse, Marcelo, Billy Sharansky, um, Todd Adamson, and they
Mm-hmm.
wound up losing some of those guys, and we wound up picking Crunchy up. Sean was one of our ballers out there. We had Shane Pisana as our coach. Um, I mean, Shane Pisana in itself was a huge, huge deal in my paintball career to you know see him where he was, and I idolized that guy,
Yeah.
and to have him become my coach, um, and break down the game to me, how he thinks about it. It was a big thing,
Yeah.
and my first event with them was L.A. and we were in L.A. We were in Compton, I think. I don't even know where we were. We're in the ghetto,
Mm-hmm.
and we wound up, fighting tooth and nail, and we probably, well, myself, I didn't practice with the guys more than a day, and we just started gelling, man. Um, I made it onto the first squad or penalty squad and stuff like that. We were going up against the Russians and in the finals, and I remember it was me and Paxson. I think it was me and Paxson on four, and we're in the corners, and it was tied up, and we're just like, yo, man, we got to go. And I seen him streaking, so I just took off down the snake, and we met at the flag station, man. And we were like, fucking did it. That was a uplifting experience. It made you feel like, you know, brought you back to being a kid again, having fun.
Mm-hmm.
you know, starting off in the woods and just that excitement of shooting people. Love it.
Now, was that the first World Cup winner or the second one?
That was the first win as LA Ironman for me, and that was LA. That was the first event of the
Oh,
year.
yeah, yeah, gotcha.
So we went from there, and we went to the following events, and we're doing we did a second place the next event over at MAO, which was just like a kind of like a mental breakdown. I think
Mm-hmm.
took a team lightly, and then just kept putting forth the effort. Whether it was on Saturdays and Sundays or weekdays. We met up. We did drills, or myself and Oliver would meet up, work out, and just challenge each other. Man, I mean, it was a that was a real brotherhood of just pushing each other, not egos and stuff like that. It was very humbling of just wanting the team to be the best
Mm-hmm.
and pushing each other, and you know came the World Cup. We had also Mikko, who was an amazing player out of Finland, went to the Russian Legion, shallow media. Um, Amazing player out of Brazil that went to Russian Legion and came to Ironman. And, we had all this background of winners, and we wound up, forming this cohesive unit where we were able to push each other to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And, it didn't matter. Like I said, it was Monday through Friday. It didn't matter, Monday through Sunday. It was, let's get better, whether it be on a athletic level or a, paintball athletic level.
Mm-hmm.
There's gunfighting or running, shooting, or just being able to have that ability to keep on going, point after point, game after game, so I think that was a big thing.
So after, so you guys win World Cup the first year, you win it the second year. Um, what happened after that? Why the push to Infamous? What was the reasoning?
Um, Once again, I mean, it comes into you know sponsorship and things of that nature of where you're going to be able to get as a player your worth and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know at, at that point, looking back at it now, you know I had a great run on Infamous and a great run on Ironman, but I mean, it was more of a thing for me to, once again, try and set myself up for the future. I went up working for Empire. I was working for Guy when I was I was playing for Ironman,
Mm-hmm.
but um, it was just a thing for me to
More or less find a career than
yeah,
anything.
exactly. And once again, looking at the players that were involved on that team. We had a good, strong core. We had John Richardson, Rusty Glaze, Marcelo Margot, Bobby Avilas. I mean, all top-notch players. Where you're like, all right, we're going to be putting ourselves up to win, and we did win. I mean, we just you know, fell short a couple times, but I mean, that team was a team to be reckoned with as well.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's about any team you were on, though, man. You have this ability to also turn these meek, naive little players into something to be feared on the paintball field, because you bring out. I mean, you can take a guy who's confident in their play, but kind of still pretty naive, and you can take them to that level to where they're willing themselves onto the other team, as far as either being down the field or willing that paintball down the field to hit that guy and be that much more confident in themselves, and to be fucking mad and angry at the world when you're out there and just letting nothing stop you. I think that's one of your biggest attributes as a teammate, is doing just that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I mean, I definitely strived when, I got to that level, on excessive, when they showed me the way, the path of, what I needed to be to Ironman, of getting the most out of each player that I could, even if, the player was at my level or, beneath me or whatever it was. Same thing when I went to Infamous. It was, trying to show these guys that it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the field. Like, you got the ability.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty fun experience. I think back on it now, and definitely miss that. I think that's why, kind of, been out of game for 3 years, and been having that itch. I meet people that are paintballers and stuff like that I run into, whether it be in an airport or, on an oil rig or wherever, that, oh, yo, you play paintball? And it's like, yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
But now it's, more like, wanting to give back a little more.
Mm-hmm.
After everything that I've been able to see through, my eyes, being through tough times, hard times, good times, and, where I'm at now, and definitely, just like you said, when you came back, you were, missing it, and, once you got back into it, you were, it's a second home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like riding a bike. So, and if all of you out there are wondering what that music is in the background, it's go do your homework, and that's Heroes for a Day, the Excessive Story. And you should watch it.
I actually put that on. I was showing my kids for the first time, and my wife.
They haven't seen it yet? Or your wife hasn't seen that yet?
No, I kind of just, paintball was over when I left.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to keep on, seeing it, and having that itch, that want to do it, or that sour taste.
Yeah, dude, that movie to me is something that I can sit down and watch it, and it'd be like the first time ever watching it, all the time. Like because I relive that movie through my eyes. I can only imagine what it was like for you, especially watching towards the middle and end half, when it was kind of following you through that 7-man win in Denver, and and even through that little hiccup at the Millennium event. I don't know if it was Germany or where it was, where it's like you guys are kind of butting heads, and
that was the first event over in Germany.
Just kind of watching that, and then the hotel scene and everything. It was just, it's brings you right back in the moment, and I think that's what's so special about that movie.
What?
That documentary.
that I was a puss and cried.
It wasn't a puss. That's all emotion, man. That's real. That's realness right there. And that's
that was me not wanting to jump across the bed and start punching people.
But it was caring, man. It was something you dedicate your life to and you care about, and it was just all emotion. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, you hear it in the background. That's literally the first time I've I was just skipping through the scenes, and it's probably the first time in, like I said, like 3-4 years that I actually like put that video in.
Yeah, there was, I don't know if you'll remember this, but there was, I forget what event it was, but there was something where I remember you were in the pit. I think you were in the pit, just not in that point. I ran down like the snake side or something, and I missed the guy, or I got shot really quick, and I came in the pit. And I remember you looked at me and you go, "Stop trying to be the superstar." And I was like, I looked at you and I was like, "I'm not trying to be the superstar. I'm just trying to win for this team." And I broke because I just got off the point. I was like all emotional, and I just wanted to help the team win. And then you were one of the guys I looked up to, and he just yelled at me. I'm like, "Fuck, god damn it!" But it was one of those things where it's kind of just put me in my place. And
no, I remember that, dude. And you could say I'm lying or whatever you want, but I definitely remember that situation, that point, and I think that was the way that I was brought up, was just hard in your face, like this is how I got to tell you, and that's how I was told. And I knew you were an amazing player, so I think I was just trying to break it down to you, but I'm not that good with words.
No, it worked. It worked, man. But I think that's one of the tougher things in paintball as a front player, or as someone who's as aggressive as we were, still are, is being able to slow down when all you know is just you, when your job is to be the guy to go make shit happen, right? You need, be alive and go down the field, turn guns, make shit happen. And it's hard to pump the brakes, but I mean, through yourself and throughout the years, I've slowly learned to kind of find that paintball patience. I've been kind of preaching that lately, the paintball patience, the timing, and knowing when to move, and I've slowly come into my own with that.
Patience, time awareness, field awareness. I mean, to try and break that down to people, and if they're a paintball player, they kind of grasp it a little bit, but at the same time, if they're so raw, they're like, "Fuck, are you talking about, bro? I just want to shoot people."
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I can communicate?
Yeah.
Like, well, communication is like 90% of this game. What's going on. Field awareness.
Yeah, exactly. Well, dude, I could sit here for another 2 hours and talk to you, but I can hear the little one upstairs, his little footsteps running around. He's supposed to be in bed, so I need to go help with that.
Yeah, brother. Well, it was great. I really appreciate you reaching out to me, being a dude of the past, and I'll check you out.
No, for sure, man. I've always wanted to have the conversations with the guys that I looked up to and that I got to experience this game with, and you are definitely one of those guys, and I wanted to have you on here, and I thank you for coming on here for me.
Well, good luck with the podcast. Good luck with the team and the little one, of course, most important. And love you, man. Be good.
Love you too, man. We'll talk to you soon. I'll keep in touch.
All right. Peace.
All right. See you, bud. Nikki New School Cuba. Dude, I could talk to that guy forever, man. He's like a big brother to me, and I was so glad I was able to talk to him. I miss playing with him. That guy's a riot, and it was cool to see him be a part of the Ironmen, and a part of Infamous, and just every team he was on, he was a big part of, and he's a big personality, and I miss that guy. But it's cool that he's getting back into the game in ways with coaching that team and and possibly playing soon. You never know. I mean, I'd love to see that guy back. But thank you, Nick, for joining me. I had a great time. Another quick thank you to our sponsors, Dr. Paintball. You can head over to drpaintball.com and check out all of the inventory they have and all the goodies of paintball info over there. Also to Charm City. You can find them on Facebook at charmcitypaintball.com. All the fabrics, all the headbands, the head wraps, all that goodness is over on their Facebook page. Also to Carbon Paintball. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast. They have the base layers, the SC line with pants, jersey. They now have a headband out. Make sure you check them out at carbonpaintball.com. And lastly, thank you to Planet Eclipse for making the best markers on the planet, like the LV1, well, the LVR, which is what I shoot, and I enjoy it thoroughly, and I will tell it to the end. I love those things, man. I finally converted. Well, I didn't convert, but I feel like I helped get some of the guys switched over to shooting an LV1 or an LVR. I know LJ on our team now is shooting an LV1, and man, who else? I know it's a couple other people switched over. I think I saw J-Rab shooting one. Keith Brown just switched over. So we're turning them. But thank you to Planet Eclipse for sponsoring this podcast. And a big thank you to you, each and every listener, for listening to the Playing On podcast. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the kind words. And for just, listening, period. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing this. So thank you to everybody. And if you are wondering where you can find me, I'm over on Instagram at cmarkkizzle, also at the Playing On podcast, and I have a Facebook page which is Carl Microwave Markowski, and the Playing On podcast is on Facebook as well. I'm working on a website. It will be up. It'll kind of be like a bio thing. I'll probably have some podcast stuff up there too, and maybe even you'll have some, eventually, if I get around to it, some daily vlogs. It's just tough with everything going on. So I have a lot of stuff going on, but thank you everybody for listening, and we will catch you again here soon on the Playing On podcast. Peace.